Hello and happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for making the time to watch this week's replay. I'm so excited for today's topic because it's something that I see a lot of people struggling with that's easily fixable. And I want to chat about that today so that you can get unstuck. What we're going to be talking about today is how to get the most out of your investments in a business coach or a business or marketing program where maybe you're not getting all of your ROI, your return on investment just yet. Now, if you don't know me or don't know me well, my name is Carrie Price. I'm a brand messaging coach, helping ambitious service-based business owners find and own the words to stand out, be heard, and make your message roar. And if you're joining me live, please say hello so I can greet you properly. And if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're watching the replay so I can come back and thank you for making the time. Fran, I'm so excited you were able to make it live today and join me. Pamela, so good to see you as well. We're going to jump right in today. If you guys have questions as we go, please drop those in the comments. If you're watching the replay, same goes for you. Drop them in the comments. I will come back and answer every single one. And if this content proves to be valuable for you, or you think there's somebody else that might enjoy joining us live today, please share this video so that they can benefit from it as well. Good morning, Rhonda. So good to see you. Thank you for joining me live. Catherine, oh, good afternoon. I love that technology allows us to connect from all over the world. Thank you so much for watching from the UK. So, you guys know that in order to be successful in business, we are constantly needing to invest in ourselves for personal development and business growth. And if you're like me, you are investing with business coaches or programs. Maybe you've recently invested in Marie Forleo's B School. She just had her annual launch earlier this year. Or you've invested in one of Amy Porterfield's amazing programs, List Builders Lab, courses that convert, webinars that convert. Maybe you are in Caitlin Batcher's fabulous Facebook groups program, which is fantastic, or any of the number of other wonderful programs out there to learn from experts in their specific area. Maybe it's on Facebook ads or ClickFunnels or blogging, right? You're out there trying to learn from the very best people so that you don't have to figure it all out yourself. Yeah, Fran, I know you're in V School. That's so awesome. So look, I invest thousands of dollars every year in my own development as well with coaches and in programs. And one of the things I see a lot of people struggle with is that they're doing everything that their coach or mentor is telling them and they're not seeing the results that other people are seeing. Or let's be honest, maybe you're not doing everything that the coach or mentor is telling you and we then aren't seeing the results, right? So what happens is when I see people inside these programs that I'm in, they start to doubt, one, I can't do this. I'm not cut out for this, or that it doesn't work. Like the technique doesn't work. But if you were to step back and really look at what everyone else in the program is doing, there are people that are having success. So what's the difference, right? This isn't about comparisonitis, like, ooh, their business idea is better than mine. They're better than me. That's not what it's about. There's one of three key mistakes that I see people make that I want to chat about today that you might be making that will help you overcome the problem. And even if you're doing everything that your coach or mentor is telling you in the program, you could still be struggling. And I want to talk about why and what you could do to fix that. Sarah, no problem. Is there a way to get a reminder to watch later? Drop me, it's pinned in the messaging den and it'll be here. The replay will be available as soon as I wrap up. I don't yet have a reminder to watch after, but just come on back. All right. Thanks for popping in, Sarah. Okay, so let's talk about three of the biggest mistakes that I see people make. These are common mistakes. If you're making them, this is no judgment. because I want to help you overcome them, right? And get the most out of every program that you are investing in. Okay. So the first mistake that I see happening is, and you guys, and I'm going to be honest, I make some of these mistakes myself. Okay. So as much as I'm sharing these with you, I'm reminding myself not to make these same mistakes. But one of the biggest problems that I see people make is not allocating enough time and effort to actually do the work. I do that. How many of you have purchased programs and you've not completed them yet? They're like sitting on your virtual shelf collecting dust. I will admit I have purchased some programs and that's the case. Now, part of what I'm working on this year is going back through and gleaning everything out of those programs that I can, but it's a really common problem, right? We know we have a need, we get excited to work with somebody, we purchase their program, and then we get busy in our business or in life, and we don't schedule it as a business task that has to get done every week. Totally guilty of this mistake myself. So my best recommendation for you is when you are investing in any program or working with any coach is that you block out time in your calendar. Now, hopefully the coach or mentor that you're working with will give you an idea of how much time you need to allocate per week. And is it better to do that as a block of time or as a little bit of time throughout the week? For example, I tell my clients that they should allocate 1 to 2 hours a week, but I don't recommend you try and find a 2-hour block every week. I recommend you find like an hour a couple times a week, or 30 minutes every few days, or 15 minutes a day. Because of the kind of work I help my clients do, it's stuff that needs to cook and it's a process, and I want you revisiting that multiple times. So if you're not sure how to make the best use in organizing your time, reach out to your coach or mentor and find out the best way to schedule your time, but then schedule it as if it was a client appointment. Yes, you have the flexibility, obviously, to move that around, but when you value your time to do the work, you're going to get the best results out of the program. Fran says, okay. Rhonda says, yeah, too often. I'm assuming that's about purchasing programs and not doing the work. We all do that. I have plenty. Fran says, mine is a time issue right now. I'm 2 weeks behind in B school. Yeah. So depending on the program that you're in and how it's structured, there may or may not be being behind, right? So, and I'm in other programs, but I'll speak about mine just because I can speak with authority about how that works, and I don't want to misrepresent somebody else's program. But in my program, it is dripped out to you over 3 months because there's a lot of work and I don't want you to be overwhelmed. And so every week you get more information that helps you move forward in your messaging development. And even though that happens, and yes, you can get it all done in 3 months, some people it takes longer, and there is no such thing as being behind, because I want you to fully get the results from each week's lesson. I even have baked in what I call implementation weeks. I think there's 3 of them where there's no new stuff to consider, but because maybe the lesson the week before really, as much as I try and simplify it, it's pretty beefy. I want to give you 2 weeks to do that, or maybe you need a week to get caught up from, the prior 3 weeks. So every few weeks there's an implementation week to get caught up. So, but even with that, it might take you longer than 3 months. So coming from the anxiousness of like, oh, I'm behind, doesn't serve you unless there like really is a time limit on it, right? Like if you're as part of a program and you get access to the coach directly, but it ends on a certain date, you want to do as much as you can to take advantage of that. In my program, I never worry about people falling behind because you get lifetime access to me and lifetime access to the material and the coaching and the support. So I want to make sure that you get enough time to feel confident in the work that you're doing. But I definitely understand if there is an end date to your program, you want to make the most out of that and get as much out of it, right? Pamela says that's how I've developed my program too, over a 12-week period. Yeah. It's funny because I have some clients say like in the beginning, they're like, ooh, I want more than like once a week, like give it to me faster. But they realized that it made them reflect and think and actually get better results. And it is paced out to give you the best results. Fran says, yeah, Marie says there's no such thing, nothing such as being behind too. She puts in implementation weeks too. I just feel bad because I know I'm behind in what I'd wanted to do. Glad to know you do the same with implementation weeks. Yeah, we all need that because life happens, first of all. And yeah, that's great. So Fran, don't worry about being behind in B school. You just keep executing and getting what you need out of that. But just my best tip for you guys is to block the time out in your calendar. If it's not in my calendar and it goes on my to-do list, which I use Asana to manage all of our work here. But I'm like, when I know I need to make progress, it also goes in my calendar and I block out times. And I have certain days of the week where I do different activities. So for example, on Mondays, I don't take client calls because that's mostly that's work I'm doing in my business. On Tuesdays, I do client calls, my weekly lives. I'm more sort of out there networking more, so I'm much more visible. I don't plan any tasks that need to be done by me on a Tuesday because I'm out there, like I'm taking care of clients, I'm doing client calls, I'm Facebook Live here and in other places, and it's just about me being engaged and visible. So you can block it by days or you can give yourself time each day. All right. All right, mistake number 2 that I see people make, and again, I have to raise my hand and admit that I do this too, is trying to do it your way. So how many of you have purchased a program or you're working with a coach and like, let's take a program, right? So they've got all the steps laid out and you decide you're going to skip ahead to step 5. Like, oh, I don't need steps 1, 2, and 3. I got that. I'm going to jump ahead. Okay, kind of skimmed step 4 and I'm going to go straight to step 5. So the problem with that is you may have done a step before, but chances are, I'm going to assume your coach or content creator, whoever's put the program together, I'm going to assume they're an expert at what they do, right? You know, like and trust them. You value their expertise and they have organized that content on purpose, which means that everything like builds upon the previous step, right? Everything feeds the next step. By skipping ahead, you are likely missing some really important information that they shared early on. So even if you think you've done that step before, even if you think, hey, I've got that, no problem, you're just doing yourself a disservice that you've maybe missed, even if it's like one little nugget of wisdom in an earlier training module or going through a workbook exercise, or maybe they're helping you think about it in a way you've never thought about it before. Because chances are you've invested in that program because you're struggling with the thing that the program is helping you with. Don't skip the steps. And again, I have to raise my hand that I do this. I will be the first to admit that in programs I'm in, I skip over the steps where they talk about message and like creating, like understanding your ideal client. Now, that's because I'm not investing with those people to help me with that, but it is a foundational step that all of their clients need to understand in order to do the work. And so I have a tendency to say like, yep, got that. But I have been in programs where maybe I don't agree with everything that they talk about in messaging, since that's my area of expertise, but I do get nuggets of wisdom out of that. Or I get confirmation that what I have in place is good, or just a different perspective. So even if it's in your area of expertise, don't discount the information that they're providing. Because there's always an opportunity to learn, right? You always need to be bettering what you do for yourself. Pamela says, you bet. I'm always looking to jump ahead and save time, but it doesn't work. Can't miss the steps. It just doesn't work because there are steps for a reason. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, here's the other flip side of that. As a member, especially in group programs where there's a Facebook group and you're all encouraging and supporting each other. And I think most group programs this day have that component. I like to be, not only do I look to the groups like to get the help and support for me as I'm working through stuff, but I really like to give back to others in the group, right? And be helpful. And if I don't understand everything that's in the program, I might be giving suggestions that are out of alignment with what the mentor or coach is trying to teach us. And even if it's in my area of expertise, I always tie back to, in lesson 2, she really breaks down, some really great steps, like go check it out. I really want to support the content that the content creator or coach has put together. So if you don't follow all the steps, you're not a great sounding board for anybody else in the program either, right? You haven't gone all in on the program or thing that you are trying to learn. And you've invested with that person because you think they're an expert at what they do, I'm assuming, right? So even if you end up not implementing everything 100% as they recommend it, try it their way. The reason they're teaching it is because they are getting their clients results doing those steps. So give it a try. But in everything, we should always be tweaking and adapting to make sure it works for us and our business and it feels good, right? You might invest in a program and maybe it isn't exactly what you thought and they're teaching a technique and you're like, that just doesn't, it's not consistent with who I am, right? And I wouldn't do that or say it that way because that doesn't feel like me. We should always be judging against what we want to be putting out there, but follow the steps, go through all the training. Don't skip ahead. Okay. Mistake number 3 that I say, this is the one that always, you guys, I've made every one of these mistakes. I am currently making all 3 of these mistakes in one program that I'm in right now. Mistake number 3 is not taking full advantage of the support that is offered. What do I mean by that? In a lot of programs, like we were just talking about, there's maybe a Facebook group where you have a community of people who are going through the program, have already been through it. People might be at different levels, but you have a community of people who are in there trying to be better at the thing, and you get access to the coach or mentor, and you don't do it. You don't share in the group. You don't ask for feedback. You don't help others or read the posts and learn from the coaching and the feedback of other people. And you're missing out on such a huge opportunity. So in my program, for example, you get lifetime access to a private Facebook group where my clients who have been through this program, going through this program, anyone plugged in, I am in that Facebook group every weekday. And I'm not just hey, that's great. You're not you're getting coaching feedback and help from me in the Facebook group. So the more you share, the more coaching you get. If you don't share and you pop in with lesson 5, I might have to backpedal you and say, okay, that's awesome, but I don't see what you did back in lessons 1 and 2. So bring me up to speed because I want to give you very specific feedback on your business, right? So the more you share in these programs that you're in, the more that the coach or mentor can help you, but also that the community can help you. Okay. You've probably signed up for a group program in the event that it's a group program and not an individual business coach, but we'll talk about that too. But you've probably signed up for a group program because it's more cost effective to do it that way than working with a coach one-on-one. But there is a community aspect. You're doing it, you're side by side with people who are struggling with the same problem you have, and you all are figuring it out together with the guidance of a program, right? Now, what I see happen in one-on-one coaching scenarios is, so let's say you've signed up to work with a coach, whether in their program or not, but you have a one-on-one element where you get to work with the coach and you don't do your homework in between calls. So maybe you have a call and the coach says, okay, the next step for you is to go do this before our next call. Now, whether you meet with the coach weekly or it's, monthly or whatever, when you don't do the work in between calls, you're doing yourself a disservice because now you're not moving forward, getting the next level of expertise and help from the coach when you get to work with them one-on-one. So the best way to take full advantage of the support that you have, group coaching calls, because by the way, I do that too, monthly group coaching calls. And there's a small number of people that attend those. You get lifetime access to that too, right? So when you have a mechanism to get targeted, specific, individualized attention, take advantage of it. Because as great as a program is, as much work, let me tell you guys, if you don't have a program built out yet, let me tell you, it takes a lot of work. And course creators, we take it very seriously that we want to provide the best information organized in the best possible way to get you results. And when you don't take advantage of like that content might be great, but if you don't take advantage of getting the feedback and the help, you're missing out on, just buying like a do-it-yourself course. When you have a coach or a mentor available to you or a community available to you, take advantage of it. Now, another thing I'll recommend, and this isn't always an official part of a program, but it's often recommended, and I've taken advantage of this, is to find an accountability buddy in the program. It could be a single person or a small group of people where you guys are like supporting each other more closely than maybe in the bigger group. So maybe it's somebody that joins that program at the same time as you. And you're like, hey, I'm just starting. Who else is just starting? I want to stay on track. Who wants to be my accountability buddy? And let's check in with each other and keep each other motivated and, right, like lovingly push and encourage each other to keep going. And I have an accountability buddy that I check in with every day with what I'm doing today. I report back on what I did yesterday. And she's not there to judge me, but she's there to say like, hey, your goal this week was you wanted to do this. Did you do it? And we have a call once a week where we recap the whole week. We highlight our big goals for the week. So then as we're checking in with each other each day, we use Voxer for that. When she messages me in the mornings and says, here's what I'm doing today, I write down, like, here's what you said your goals for the week were. Is that helping you achieve your goals? And so you just have some outside loving nudging, right, to stay on track. So grab an accountability buddy. That's another way to get support as you work through the program. Who uses an accountability buddy or has one in their business? I'd love to know. Drop that in the comments. Okay. Even if, I'm just going to check, by the way, if you are watching this from inside my group, the messaging den, I don't see your comments pop up. So click on the link, jump back out here to the page, and that way I'll be able to see your comments while I'm live. All right, let's assume Pamela says, of course they do. Yes, I think it's so important. And plus, you guys, we are most of us are solopreneurs, and it's so easy just to feel like you're all alone, and just having an accountability buddy takes that away. Catherine says, I don't, but it sounds like exactly what I need. Awesome, Catherine. I absolutely recommend having one. It doesn't even have to be tied to a specific program that you're working through. Some people call this their biz besties, right? So it's just somebody that is you don't even have to be at the same level of business, although it does help because you're generally working through similar kinds of problems. But find somebody that you can just encourage each other, support each other. It's amazing what it does for you mentally to have to report your progress out to somebody outside of yourself. Like the fact that I have to report to my accountability buddy every week. Did I accomplish my 3 main goals from last week? And I have to say yes or no, and here's what I'm accomplishing next week. It just helps you keep focused. Fran says, I have a B School accountability group. There are 4 of us, completely invaluable. Yes, small groups work really great too. I also am in a small group mastermind. It's a peer-led mastermind. So it's more like an accountability group, and there's 4 of us, and I think that works really well too. Pamela says, I have an accountability partner and we both bounce things off of each other all the time. Yes. Sometimes you just need a sanity check, right? Whether it's you have a problem that you're encountering in your business and you're like, I don't know where to ask for this because maybe I don't want to admit that in a public forum. Like I wouldn't post it out in a group, but I just need to know, like, I would just love ideas on this. Or you want to share a win, like you and your accountability buddy will, you just end up encouraging each other in the success of your business in a very different way. So definitely encourage that if you don't already have it. Okay. Let's assume now, though, you're working with a business coach or a program and you are not making any of these mistakes, right? You are taking full advantage of all of the content and support. You've scheduled it. You're keeping up, right? Even though like falling behind's not a bad thing, but you're doing all the things. You're keeping up. You're taking the support. You're following whatever the mentor tells you to do, and you are still struggling to see results. And I see this a lot in the programs that I'm in. People are like, okay, they said in step 1, do this, and I did this and it didn't work. I must suck at that, right? And that's kind of our inclination to think like it's me. It's wrong. Like that thing doesn't work for me. For example, one might argue everybody right now, including myself, talks about how great Facebook Live is for your business. And maybe you did it and nobody watched, or you didn't get engagement, nobody commented, and you think Facebook Lives didn't work for me, right? So that's our initial tendency. And this is more of a mindset issue now, so I'm not going to get too much into that. But what I want to suggest is that there might be one of two things might be happening for you. So oftentimes in programs, especially marketing implementation programs, so they're teaching you how to market, how to do Facebook ads, how to build your funnel, how to write emails, how to blog, right? Like these are all the ways that you get your message out there. They might provide you scripts or templates to help you, right? Super helpful, because a lot of people are like, okay, I understand this idea of email sequences, for example, but what the heck do I write about in every one of my emails? So depending on a program that you're in or a coach that you're working with, they might give you a template and say, here's a 5 email sequence. You want to create one that's just like that. So 2 problems that generally pop up for people when they do that. The first is maybe you're following the scripts or templates too literally. Like, in fact, in one program I was in, somebody's, followed the templates and posted it for feedback. And the mentor coach said, yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I said. You need to personalize this for you. So when you get scripts or templates, one of the things I want you to think about is look at the idea of them. What's the key? I'm at a loss for words now around this. What's the key theme or message or idea that they're trying to help you get across? And they probably give you an example, even a fill in the blank kind of script, right? Like talk about this here, talk about that here. But when you start to follow it too literally, and especially if it's in a large program that maybe is popular, so there's a lot of people out there putting content out that way, it is noticeable by people. They'll start to say like, oh, this person must be following a script because this is like the 3rd email of someone's list that I've signed up for, and it sounds exactly the same. So you're not standing out, right? So what I want you to do is take the idea of the script or the template, but make sure you are personalizing it. Whatever their call to action is, it doesn't have to be literal. It does, like, just like my formula for an impactful introduction, it's fill in the blank, but it's not meant to be a script. It's meant to be a guide. And I want you to think about your templates that you're getting provided in your programs as a guide. Hey, Margie, so great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so you're either following them too literally. That's problem number 1 that might happen to you. Or you don't know how to fill them in. You're like, hey, that's great. I totally get the idea of what they're trying to say, and I have absolutely no idea where to start. Like, I know I'm supposed to talk about this, and I have no idea how to do that, right? Like, what are the words that I need to put in there to plug in? And what I want to make sure that you keep in mind is every marketing technique that you're learning, no matter what it is, You need to be infusing your one-of-a-kind message. It needs to be your message that you've developed that's relatable to your ideal client. The way that somebody might recommend that you do a call to action or that you call something out. If that's not in alignment with your message, with your brand personality, don't follow it literally. Okay. Take those as a guide and make sure you're infusing your brand personality, your brand vocabulary, your way of speaking to your ideal clients. You know what your ideal clients relate to. And if you don't, you need to work on that. You know how you speak about what you do in a one-of-a-kind way so that you don't sound like it's like, oh yeah, following a script and there's nothing here unique that's helping them stand out. And if you don't know how to do that, you need to work on that. You need to know how to infuse your message into any framework, any program, with any business coach, any content that you're writing. You need to know how to infuse your message into any of those frameworks. If you don't know how to do that, it's time to learn to make your message roar. So let me know how I can help you, because you can plug in to any system. And by the way, when you do that, so I have clients that are in another program and my program simultaneously. And the ones who do that, or maybe they started another program and they got stuck and they struggled and they said, obviously I need some messaging help. So now I'm going to get messaging help. They're able to go plug back in to the investments they've already made with other programs and other coaches to maximize their return. So let's just say you spend $1,000 on a program to learn how to implement something, your funnel, your webinar, whatever it is, right? And if it's not getting you results, you're not getting return on investment, right? That $1,000 that you invested is not turning into money. It's not helping you attract clients. So you want to be able to maximize that ROI for every investment in your business. So if you're not getting results and you think it's because I'm doing the things, but my message isn't resonating, then you might need to consider investing in your messaging that now, by the way, you're able to go plug back into your original investment and knock it out of the park. And make the most of that $1,000 investment where you learn from an expert, their technique, the steps that they outline for you to get your message out there. But you have to have the message that you're trying to put out there, right? Does that make sense? Fran says, I can't wait to be able to plug back into B School once I've worked with you on my brand message. Yeah, because Fran, everything that you're doing in B School is, I know, laying the foundation for your business. And then you're going to be able to amplify all of that in a completely different way with a strong message behind it. And every technique that you're learning right now is going to be even more effective, attracting more of your dreamiest clients more quickly. And ultimately, that's what we all want. That's why we're investing in programs, right? So I wanted to let you guys know I'm going to be running my free live masterclass again in April. So it is live 1 hour with me where I will be breaking down for you the 7 foundational elements in your message that you need to have developed so that you can implement that in every technique that you're learning. Why each of them gives you a competitive advantage and how you can start developing them right now. It will also be your opportunity to learn more about my signature program, Messaging Mastery, the Foundation, and have an opportunity to get to work with me and really elevate your message and build that rock solid foundation in your message that makes everything flow so much easier in your marketing. So the live, and by the way, and if you're not interested in the program, the masterclass content itself is going to give you actionable takeaways for things that you can start doing right away. Okay. So if you would like to get notified when the live masterclass registration opens, you can get on the waiting list right now. Let's see, I have it here. You can go to carrieprice.com/waitlist. And enrollment for that will be opening up here in just a couple weeks, and I'll announce the date of the live webinar and all that good stuff. Now, here's the thing I love about live webinars. is that I get to actually interact with you, right? Like literally there with you live. Jam-packed content, but then there's opportunity for Q&A, and I love the interaction that brings. I mean, I love Facebook Live videos. You guys know that. I'm here live every Tuesday, right? So I love live webinars for that. It's more fun for me. It's more fun for you because we get to interact, and you get to interact with other people who are watching as well. I also know, though, that the time, it's really hard to find a time that works for everybody. So join the wait list so that when I announce the date and time of the live masterclass, you'll have an opportunity to grab your spot. But I do also have a pre-recorded version of the masterclass that you can watch on demand. So if you don't want to wait for the live masterclass, or when I do announce the date and time and it doesn't work for you, then you could grab the pre-recorded masterclass instead, right? But I love doing them live. So join me live if you can. But if you want to take a look at the on-demand, you can start watching it right now, masterclass. You can go to carrieprice.com/masterclass and you'll get instant access to that. So either way, you're going to get the similar information. It's very obvious in the pre-recorded one. I tell you I recorded this for you. You'll be able to chat and use the chat to ask questions, but I let you know you're not going to get real-time response, right, in ways that you can get faster feedback from me. So do that if you want to get access to that right away. But either way, you're going to get all of that information. Okay, so Pamela says, you're always a plethora of information, Carrie. Thank you, gotta run. No problem. Thank you so much, Pamela, for joining me. I'm so glad this was helpful. If this was helpful for you guys, I ask that you share it into your communities or with other people that you think maybe you're struggling with programs that they're in and that they could benefit from ways to make the most of the program that they're already in. I want you guys to maximize your return on your every investment that you make. And these, the three things that I shared with you today will help you no matter what it is that you've invested in. And if you're still struggling and you know that it's your messaging foundation that could use some work, go ahead and sign up for the waitlist. Again, that's carrieprice.com/waitlist. I've got a live masterclass coming up in April. If you don't want to wait for that, you can go to carrieprice.com/masterclass. Either way, I look forward to just helping you start to build that messaging foundation. Fran, you are so welcome. Everybody have a wonderful day today. I will be back here live next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, and I look forward to seeing you then. Until then, do not settle for blending in and sounding like everybody else. Make sure that you stand out and make your message roar. Have a good day, everybody. Bye.